Hey guys, thanks for stopping on in for today's college football pick video. Heading into Thursday's action, we're going to be discussing this nightcapper here between the Idaho Vandals and the Troy Trojans over in the Sun Belt. To get all of our college football plays, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com, linked down in the video description, and be sure to click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. So heading into this one, Idaho currently finding themselves as about 18 to 18.5 point underdogs, with the over-under at about 51 total points. In this video, we're going to be giving our take on who we think has the better betting value, taking that point spread into consideration. So right now on the year, the Idaho Vandals standing 3-5 overall, 2-2 in the Sun Belt. This is a team, it's their last hurrah in the FBS before going over to the FCS next year, and it hasn't quite been the kind of year that Idaho was hoping for. They have a veteran quarterback and an offense that was certainly expected to produce a lot more than what they've seen from this unit so far this year. Matt Linehan, the QB, has thrown for 1,774 yards, 14 touchdowns. Just not quite the kind of prolific numbers we were expecting out of this veteran this season. Idaho, they haven't gone against the toughest schedule by any means, but they've been very competitive against group of 5 competition. In their last outing, they came through against conference foe Louisiana Monroe, picking up that win by a final of 31-23. And within conference play, the Vandals have been very competitive. They won on the road against South Alabama. They had a really close loss against Lafayette, of course, coming through against Monroe in their last outing. So some pretty nice overall results here for the Vandals. And of course, you have to point out that 20-23 loss against Appalachian State, who's arguably the best team in the conference, other than maybe Arkansas State. So just losing by a field goal there to App State at home. The Vandals on the year, like I said, this was supposed to be a team that put up some pretty prolific offensive numbers. That hasn't been the case, however. They rank 106th in college football in scoring average, 91st in total team defense. And although these numbers don't pan out all that well, this is still a team with a veteran quarterback in Matt Linehan that can light things up offensively when they get things rolling. And also, it's not like they've been gashed consistently on the defensive side of the ball. They might rank 91st in all of college football in terms of points given up, but a lot of that has to do with just a couple of bad performances, most notably their loss against UNLV and also their recent loss against Missouri on the road. Those two defensive numbers are certainly skewing this overall defense in terms of comparing them to other Sun Belt competition. So coming into this one, the home team, the Troy Trojans, they're at 6-2 overall, 3-1 in conference, still trying to make a push for a conference title, sitting behind Appalachian State and Arkansas State right now in the conference standings. The Trojans have been a tough team to figure out this year. This is another group that huge things were expected out of Troy coming into the year, given the fact that they are also bringing in a veteran quarterback in Brandon Silvers. But Silvers, again, has not been as prolific as everyone was expecting. He still hasn't passed for over 2,000 yards on the year and only 5 touchdown passes. Really surprising. And it seems like the coaching staff has decided to shift things more to the ground game, given that Silvers hasn't been as dominant through the air as they've expected. We saw that in their last outing, which was their 38-16 win against Georgia Southern. In that outing, Silvers only completed 9 of 18 passes for 102 yards. Not impressive stuff at all. And then the ground game really carrying the offensive load, picking up 241 yards, 3 touchdowns on 30 carries in that winning effort. On the year, this group ranks 92nd in the FBS in scoring average, so similar offensive numbers to what we've been seeing out of that disappointing Idaho offense as well, but defense is really where they've been carrying themselves a bit better, ranking 11th in the FBS in total team defense. Of course, the Trojans have shown that they can compete against strong competition, winning on the road against LSU, winning on the road against New Mexico State. But they've also been very competitive in games where you would expect them to win in more convincing fashion, such as their 5-point home win against Akron, for instance. Also, their home loss against not a great South Alabama team, losing that one by a final of 8-19. So some results certainly on the Trojans' resume that don't necessarily draw up to a team that many thought coming into the year was going to have a great shot at winning the Sun Belt title. But coming to this one against Iowa, certainly deserving as being favorites, but I'm not sure giving this many points is fair, especially considering that Troy hasn't been all that dominant at times on their home field this season. They did look a bit more convincing in their last outing, but that hasn't been the norm of what we've been seeing out of the Trojans. In Idaho, in terms of overall talent, not quite to the level of where the Trojans are at, but they still bring in a veteran quarterback. And, you know, Idaho hoping that they can make a run to a bowl game in their last year as an FBS program. if they're going to do that, they're going to have to start picking up some upsets here down the stretch. So we expect a big effort here out of the Vandals to keep things somewhat competitive, getting those 18 points. Both of these teams not necessarily being as consistent or putting up the kind of numbers that everyone was expecting coming into the year, but we expect Idaho to keep things fairly competitive in this one and go on to cover that 18 to 18.5 point spread. So that's going to be our video play for today's action, siding with the road team, the Idaho Vandals, getting the points. And again, guys, to get all of our college football plays, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com, linked in the video description, and click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping on in. We hope to see you guys in future videos. Bye.